In our day-to-day lives, we fight small battles and big battles. Small battles as in, little verbal arguments and, feelings of being impatient and getting angry. Those are all small battles that we fight in our day-to-day life. You're at work and, your manager is making you upset. You're annoyed of him. It's a pretty small battle. But we also fight very, very big battles, very serious battles, as in depression, addiction, anxiety, lust. We have toxic relationships, you know. And I'm here to say that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness in this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. We fight spiritual battles every day. We don't wrestle against flesh and blood, guys. We gotta keep a spiritual mind. For to be carnal minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Okay? So having a carnal mind, that's like looking at things in the physical realm. All you see is what's on the surface, Like if someone's arguing at you, like if someone's arguing with you, you just see them as like, oh, this person is just, they're annoying. Like you just see the flesh, but you don't see the spirit in them. You don't see the spirit of hatred. You don't see the spirit of just unhappiness, because a lot of people, they like to argue and stuff because like they like to stir up conflict because they're unhappy with themselves, and the only way they can feel happy is by bringing others down. That's very spiritual. Okay, that's not a physical battle that you're fighting. Okay, like whenever you're arguing with people and y'all are going back and forth, that's a spiritual battle. When you're at work, your coworkers are saying, things, to rub you the wrong way. Your managers, all over you, micromanaging you, making you feel some type of way. Those are spiritual attacks. Those are people trying to bring you down to their level. As believers, as followers of the word, we got to stay strong. We got to see through it all. We got to be able to take the high road. You know what I'm saying? That's when it comes to small things, as in, people trying to bring us down and stuff. But there's even bigger battles that we face, like addiction, anxiety, depression, lust. And depression, guys, that's a spirit in itself. You're fighting the spirit of hopelessness. I don't like to call things depression or anxiety. Like, I feel like most people, they can overcome their mental battles with the faith of God and through prayer. Like I said, whenever you're depressed, that's the spirit of hopelessness. You got no enthusiasm, like you say. You got no positive outlook. You're in a negative thought pattern all the time. Like you wake up and you're already thinking negative about things. When you wake up, the first thing you should do is pray and tell yourself that I'm gonna make today a good day, whether things go my way or not. You know what I'm saying? You can't let one bad day, bring you down. Like I said, not every day is gonna be good, guys. You're gonna be spiritually attacked by people or just by the world. Like things are gonna happen in your life. You might have to, fix your car, or just shit happens, right? And those are things that are gonna test your spirit. You gotta stay strong out here. You can't let things bring you down. Like I said, guys, if you're depressed, I highly encourage you to just wake up and pray. The first thing you should do is pray. And then after that, tell yourself that today is going to be a good day. I'm not going to let things bother me. I'm not going to let things bring me down. Okay? Like I said, when we're depressed, we tend to think in a negative thought pattern. It's like everything, we look at things in a negative light all the time. Like I said, I've been depressed before. Like I said, I don't like to call it depressed. I just like to call it hopeless. I was hopeless. I had no hope. I had no outlook on life. All I saw was the negative. I was ungrateful. I didn't count my blessings. Like once you count your blessings and you realize that you have it better than most people, like I said, there's always someone out there who's gonna have it worse than you. There's someone out there who's dying to have your spot. Like you got to be happy with what you got. Okay, your life may not be perfect. Things might not be going the way you want, but that's life, man. You can't be living in a fairy tale. Like I said, not all of us are super blessed, just like super privileged. We all got problems, But at the end of the day, we're all blessed too. And we must count our blessings and be grateful for the little things that we do have. Okay? You know, anxiety, you're fighting against the spirit of fear. And you can't be fearful out here, man. Like, you know, stop worrying so much about what people thinking about you, or, you know, if this is going to happen, if that's going to happen. Like, just go about your daily life, and if it happens, it happens. You know, like, you got to have a positive mind. You can't go into things already thinking negative. Like all anxiety is you're scared. You're in your own head. You're like, you know, it's like, oh man, what are these people going to think about me? Like, you know, like you just, and then, like, I feel like for most people, anxiety comes from drug use. You know, they smoke a lot of weed, they drink, you know, and that can cause feelings of anxiety. You know, maybe not while you're on them. You know, weed definitely causes anxiety while you're on it, but like the afterwards, you know, when you're sober, that it can lead to anxiety, like social anxiety. You know, like you might feel like you can only go around people if you're on one, you know? Like some people, they can't go out unless they got a little drink in them, because it makes them more bold. Like they can come out of their shell more. And I'm here to say that you don't need that, you know? Like you got to work on your social skills. You got to put yourself out there, you know? It's going to be hard, trust me. I used to struggle with social anxiety a lot. You know, I had a hard time talking to people, getting my point across, but I worked on it every day. Like I said, I would go in sober, and I would just try and talk to people, you know, and it's much easier when you're sober, because when you're high, you trip on yourself. Like it's hard to get your words and think of the right things to say. And the Bible says here, man, we must be sober, we must be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking who he may devour. So when you're out drinking, you're out smoking, you're opening that door to spiritual attacks, man. Every time you get high, you know, you're opening the doors to the spirit of unproductiveness, the spirit of laziness, you know, the spirit of just coming short. Like, you know, when you smoke a lot of weed, you're going to end up coming short on things. Like, you're not going to live to your fullest potential. And, you know, drinking, you open up the door to the spirit of recklessness. Like, people get reckless when they drink, you know. They drink and drive, and then they crash, and they kill, like, a family of 3, and they get DWIs. People get into fights. People get into arguments and just say things that they shouldn't. You know, like I said, alcohol, it opens up the spirit of recklessness. We got to be careful out here, man. We got to stay sober, and we got to stay vigilant, you know. Every time you put something into your body that's other than food and water, you're weakening your spirit, man. Every time you smoke weed, every time you drink, every time you take a hit of the nicotine, you know, nicotine is very bad. That opens up to the door of, you know, spirit of anxiousness, the spirit of being impatient. You know, like I said, people can't wait to go and hit their nicotine. Like I said, that's such a short-term high that, like, you withdraw from it in like 30, 45 minutes. You take a couple hits, and then literally a couple seconds later, you're willing to, you want another hit, man. And weed is not any better either, because eventually you build a tolerance. Next thing you know, you're smoking 3-4 times a day, trying to keep that high going, you know, and it's not good, man. It's not good, okay? Like I said, these are all spiritual things that we're fighting. We're fighting against demons, you know. When you get the urge to drink and to smoke, that's a demon telling you to do that stuff. Especially if you have an addiction, that's a demonic stronghold. That's whenever there's a demon attached to your spirit, and he keeps telling you, he keeps influencing you. And the only way to kill your demons is by putting on the full armor of God. For it says here, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Okay? So you got to pray. You got to read the Bible. You got to feed yourself wisdom, you know. Like I said, if you feed your spirit, it'll be easier to put those things down. But if you have a carnal mind and you're trying to get things through your own understanding, your own wisdom, it's not going to get you nowhere, man, because you're weak by yourself. When you got the Lord on your side, you're infinitely times stronger. You're way stronger than those who aren't spiritual. When you're not spiritual, you're very weak. You know, you're very prone to just spiritual attacks and, you know, letting in demons, like, because you're not aware of it. If you're not aware of something, you know, you're at the biggest disadvantage. Like I said, if you have a spiritual mind, you're aware of these things and you can see them before they even come. All right, and you know, it says here, 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3 through 5. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. Like I said, you got to stay strapped with the word of God, and you got to pull on the full armor of God. Like I said, that's the only thing that's going to keep us safe out here against these demons. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. All right, so you got to stay spiritual, man. You got to start looking at things as, energy, like demons and angels, guys. Like you can't be looking at things as just black and white. And you can't just be looking at the surface, Like when someone's like rubbing you the wrong way, you gotta look in their spirit and be like, why are they talking to me like that? Like there must be something going on in their life that they feel like they have to treat me this way and bring me down. You got to come from a place of understanding, guys. You got to try to understand these things and not question them so much, okay? And not try to fight against them. The only way you're gonna fight against them is through love and prayer. We must love our enemies. As hard as that may sound, like when someone's trying to bring you down, someone's rubbing you the wrong way, the best thing to do is love them, man. Straight up, I'm telling you. Next time someone says something, a little fishy to you, they try to little slick comment, man, show them love. See what it does. Okay. It says here, this I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary to the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. But if ye be led by the Spirit, you are not under the law. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanliness, and lasciviousness. Okay? What else do I need to say? Once you put on the full armor of God and you be spiritual, you start opening your mind up and you start seeing things for what they are. It's harder for these demons to attack you. When people offer you things, you can turn them down. Like, it's easier for you to put the weed down. It's easier for you to stop drinking. Like I say, God is going to be your best friend, man. He's going to be the one that's going to get you through all your demons. He's going to get you through all your battles. Okay? And this is another important scripture that I like to read. Galatians chapter 6, verse 8 through 11. For he that soweth to the flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption, but he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. Let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not. You reap what you sow, man. Like I said, if you just sow to please your flesh, you just sow pleasure, you just want to feel pleasure all the time, you want to always be high, you always want to get drunk, you always want to have sex, in the flesh you shall reap corruption, And lust is a big one that us men fight. Women fight it too, but men, we're way more lustful than women are. Let's be frank. Men have a burning desire to be lustful. It's just like the spirit gets in us and it just overcomes us, Like I said, we're willing to get in relationships that we shouldn't just because, we want to get it in. It's pretty sad. It causes, unwanted pregnancies. Guys, they end up getting this girl pregnant, out of wedlock, and next thing you know, they got a baby mama who they're paying child support for, and it's just like it destroyed them basically. Their financial situation is screwed up. They ain't got no family life. Their son is living with their mom. Like I said, if you sow to the flesh, in the flesh you shall reap corruption, man. You be safe out here with these relationships, man. Be careful. You do not want to get the wrong one pregnant, all right? And you also don't want to just be feeding all your sexual energy into a girl, building this soul tie with her. Like, eventually you get attached. You can't control yourself. It's like you need that sexual gratification just to live, Like I said, guys, like lust is very dangerous. It's one of the things that we struggle with as men. And we gotta be strong out here, man. So you gotta be able to tell yourself no. All right. And another thing, another way to stay strong in the spirit and stay away from spiritual attacks and demons is the company we keep. For in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33, be not deceived, evil communications corrupt good morals. In Proverbs chapter 13, verse 20, he that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. All right, so you are who you hang around. Like I'm sure you've heard that saying, you know, and we've all denied it. You know, when we were younger, we heard people say that, and we were like, oh, you know, whatever. Like, but it's true, man. You are the company you keep. You know, if you're a God-fearing man and you're hanging around people who live in darkness, they're gonna bring you down, inevitably. It's only a matter of time. You gotta cut people off, man, and you can do it respectfully. You don't gotta be rude or mean. You could just slowly, like, you know, avoid them. You know, not answer their texts. Not whenever they ask you to hang out, just politely decline. You know, and hey, you can be straight up too. Tell them like, hey, look, I think we're on two separate paths. I want to go my own direction. I feel like you're not good for me. You know, if you want to go that route, tell them. I tell people all the time, like, hey, look, I just don't think that we're good for each other. Like, I'm trying to go one direction and you're going the other. I think it's best we walk our separate ways. You know, no harsh feelings, all love. But I can't kick it with you no more. You know. We can't be communicating because it's evil communications. Okay? All right? Another scripture I got for y'all. All right? Be not equally yoked together with unbelievers, for what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness, and what communion hath light with darkness? That comes back to the company you keep, guys. What are you doing hanging out with people who are living in darkness when you're trying to walk in the light? It don't make sense. Like I said, light and dark don't go together, okay? Eventually, your light will be dimmed by these people. You gotta stay strong out here, guys. Sometimes the best thing to do is rock solo. You know? The Lord wants you to be alone, man. He does. And you may have one or two friends. You know, you may have like a girl that you call your girlfriend. You know, she might be your best friend. And that's one thing I advocate for. If you're gonna get in a relationship, make them your best friend. You know, don't make it be just about the lust, man. Make sure y'all have a spiritual connection. Like y'all are inseparable. Like y'all get along, y'all vibe so well, you know. And same thing with your friends. Like your friends need to be like your brothers and your sisters, man. Like you just like, you get in the room with them, it's just like always happy vibes. Like, y'all just get along really well. Like you can't be kicking it with people that you really don't agree with, and you know, it's just like, it's strange vibes when you're with them. Like, you know, can't do that, man. And sometimes we do have good vibes with people who aren't good with us, you know, or good for us. I mean, you know, like some people, it's just, they're such a good time, but they're not good for us. They're influencing us to do things that we shouldn't, like smoking and drinking. You know, it's sad, but we got to move on, man. If you want to do good things in life, you want to please God, we got to put certain things and people away, you know. That's really all I got for today, guys. Every day it's spiritual warfare. But, you know, in your house, you're going to face spiritual warfare. You know, for it even says here, a man's foe shall be they of his own household. All right, so your parents, your brothers, your sisters, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, they're going to spiritually attack you. You're going to face spiritual attacks from everybody, from the good people in your life and the bad ones. You know, like I said, it's up to you to put on the full armor of God and be the bigger person and not let things get to you. Like I said, it's spiritual warfare when you get up in the morning, you know. You get up and you might not want to do anything. You might be like, you know, another day. It's like, but no, you need to get up and shake that off. You need to pray. Like, oh, man, thank you for another day of life. Like, let's get going, you know. Like I said, guys, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. This young messenger here, I hope y'all have a blessed day. If you like this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. That's it, guys. Thank you.